Welcome to Northwood University's Freedom Seminar. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome to our students. Welcome to our university officers. Welcome to friends of Northwood University. We're here today to talk about and to celebrate certain aspects of our great free enterprise system. And the theme for this particular weekend will be the inclusive economy, how to bring wealth to America's poor. And that will be the focus of many of our presentations this week. It's obviously a very important topic, and we want to make sure that we understand how we can accomplish this to make the American dream more accessible so that, along with the great values of Northwood University, many people can share with us our appreciation of freedom and enterprise. I want to thank especially the McNair Center for the advancement of free enterprise and entrepreneurship, for their generous support of our conference this weekend. The McNair Center is a Northwood University-centered think tank focused on the study, advocacy, and expansion of the market process and the creation and cultivation of entrepreneurs. So thank you very much to the McNair Center. At this time, I am proud to introduce our keynote speaker for this event, Lieutenant Colonel Alan B. West. Colonel West has largely spent his life in the service of his country. Formerly, he has served as a U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. He's a member of a four-generation family of military personnel. He is a veteran of Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, the recipient of many decorations, including Meritorious Service Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters. I hope I got that right. 3 Army Commendation Medals and a Bronze Star, and others. In 2010, he ran for Congress and was elected from the 22nd Congressional District in Florida as the first Black Republican to be elected in Florida since Reconstruction. While he was in Congress, he voted for the Balanced Budget Amendment. He voted for 30 different bills designed to empower small business, hopefully to make life a little easier for our graduates as they enter their careers as entrepreneurs. Not too easy. It's never going to be that easy. He's currently the director of the Booker T. Washington Initiative at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. He's a contributing columnist for townhall.com. He's the author of 2 books. His first book was Guardian of the Republic, An American Ronin's Journey to Family, Faith, and Freedom. And his most recent book is Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, Victory or Death. He also is host of the podcast, The Old School Patriot. And today he's here to share his ideas with us about defending the Opportunity Society. So please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Alan B. West.
Thanks, Bill. Can everybody hear me okay? Good to go? All right. Hey, look, it's a pleasure and honor to be back here at Northwood University, especially when it's not a snowstorm, Dr. Quinn. Okay? So it is great. And always it's a pleasure to be on a college campus because it's important to talk to our future leadership and the people that's going to continue this great nation for hopefully another 244 years. The theme of this, this week, as Dale talked about, was the inclusive economy, how to bring wealth to the poor. Now, that's a pretty interesting topic because how do you define wealth? I mean, wealth can come in many different ways, shape, form, and fashion. I mean, you hadn't noticed, I'm only 5'9". I can't run very fast. I couldn't jump that high. So is wealth to be determined by the fact of whether or not you can earn multi-millions of dollars as a sports athlete or whatever? And when you talk about the poor, I think the most important thing we have to come to understand is that our Declaration of Independence talks about a pursuit of happiness. It doesn't talk about a guarantee of happiness. And I think one of the problems that we have in the United States of America today is that people are sitting around trying to, first of all, determine what is wealth, and and other people trying to determine what is poor and what should be given to those that may be taken from one. I'll give you a case in point. There was someone that just recently said they're going to run for president of the United States of America. And this incredible individual stood up here in one of the great free market for enterprise nations that the world has ever known. And he said that there's a lot of money in the world, a lot of money in the United States of America. The problem is it's in the wrong hands. Now, how can someone determine where your wealth, where your resources should be? If you all have not read the essay by the French economist Frederick Bastiat that was written in the 1850s, it's called The Law. One of the things that Frederick Bastiat talked about was legal plunder. How a government can come in and decide based upon creating laws or whatever, based upon their own misplaced philanthropy, how they will take from one and give to another. That's not what this country is all about. Now, before y'all start saying, man, this colonel's a heartless SOB, he doesn't care about people, whatever, that's absolutely wrong. I grew up in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in a neighborhood called the Old Fourth Ward. Now, maybe some of y'all have been to the Old Fourth Ward, because there was another incredible American that was born in the Old Fourth Ward. My elementary school was right around from his birthplace, across the street from the church that he preached at. That individual was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And see, Dr. King talked about not seeing people based upon any type of status, color, skin. He talked about seeing people based upon their character. See, when you talk about wealth, I will tell you, I'm one of the richest guys around. I married way out of my league to a woman that has a dual bachelor's, an MBA, and a PhD. She works for Oppenheimer. I have two incredible daughters. The oldest is about to graduate from physician assistant school. She already has an undergrad and a master's degree. My youngest is about to also graduate from college in August. I am so fortunate to have, a bachelor's degree and two master's degrees, all coming out of that simple inner city neighborhood. I had a dad who served this great nation as a soldier in World War II. And if you understand what it meant to be black and serve this nation in World War II, he didn't have all the rights and privileges that others did. But yet, from that man who served in World War II came my older brother, who served as an enlisted Marine in Vietnam. And then at the age of 15, my dad sat me down. He gave me this incredible challenge. He said, first and foremost, son, there is no greater honor than to wear the uniform of the United States of America. Think about it. A man born in 1920 in South Alabama, grew up in South Georgia, went to fight for his country, and a segregated army would sit down and tell his 15-year-old son, there's no greater honor than to wear the uniform of the United States of America. And then he challenged me. He said, be the first officer in our family. So I started in high school junior ROTC in 1976. Finished there and went on to the University of Tennessee, Army ROTC, and on 31 July 1982, at Stokely Athletic Center on the campus of the University of Tennessee. It's gone now. But if you want, I can show you the pictures. But my dad standing on my right shoulder, and my mother standing on my left shoulder, and pinning second lieutenant bars on me. But that's not the end of the story. Because on 6 June of 2002, 6 June, what date is that, Dr. Gray? Isn't that coming up? That's going to be the 75th anniversary of D-Day. On 6 June at Fort Hood, Texas, I took command of a battalion in the 4th Infantry Division. On that day, there were men that were visiting Fort Hood, Texas in the 4th Infantry Division. Men who had landed on Utah Beach on that incredible day of 6 June 1944. You want to talk about rich? You want to talk about wealthy? Being part of a legacy of men and women that served and sacrificed and committed to this country. See, wealth is not just about, what you put in your pocket. It's not just about this stuff right here in green. Wealth is about your heart, and your character, and what you are able to achieve. So here is a kid born and raised in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia in 1961. Gets to be a combat battalion commander on 6th of June of 2002. And guess who was sitting there in the audience? My nephew, older brother's son, who came up to me afterwards and said, because he was a cadet at North Georgia Military College, Uncle, I want to be an artillery officer and a paratrooper just like you. Now he served a major in the United States Army, 3 combat tours of duty. You want to talk about wealth? You want to talk about rich? The West family has lived a rich life in service and sacrifice and commitment to these great United States of America. So don't have people trying to convince you that wealth is all about a credit card or the money that you, but wealth is much more than that. It is something that is tied to your heart, so that you can look back and say, these are the things that I've worked hard to achieve, and these are the things that I'm going to pass on to subsequent generations. Sure, I can pass the houses that we have. I can probably give my car or whatever. I ain't giving up my motorcycle to my daughter. But I can pass all those things. But the most important thing I want to pass on to them is an understanding of liberty, and an understanding of freedom, and an understanding of how they live in a country that since April the 19th of 1775, men and women stood up and said those simple 3 words that is the motto of the United States Army: this will defend. So what I want to talk to you all tonight is about defending the American Opportunity Society. Because that is how I can be standing here before you all today. But the challenge is that we are not focused on opportunity. We're focused on a different word that starts with an O. But let me read you a quote. And it's very funny that I'm here on the college campus and I see this incredible statue of a guy on a horse reading a book. I did not know that statue was here. But let me tell you the words of Abraham Lincoln. The world has never had a good definition of the word liberty. And the American people just now are much in want of one. We all declare for liberty, but in using the same word, we do not all mean the same thing. With some, the word liberty may mean for each man to do as he pleases with himself and the product of his labor. While with others, the same word may mean for some men to do as they please with other men and the product of other men's labor. Here are 2 not only different but incompatible things called by the same name: liberty. And it follows that each of these things is, by the respective parties, called by 2 different and incompatible names: liberty and tyranny. Abraham Lincoln is addressed at the Sanitary Fair, Baltimore, Maryland, April 18th of 1864. See, it may sound good when people come up to you and say, no, we're going to give you this free, we're going to give you that free. But really, in the long run, what is the value of something that you haven't worked hard for? And really, what do you lose by saying, here, I really don't feel that I'm capable of achieving these things, so can you just give it to me? Now, I believe in a safety net. I believe that there are some people that when they try to climb the ladder of success in the United States of America, they may fall off that ladder. And the safety net is there to catch them. But what we want you to do in America is go back and continue to climb. Because we never want a safety net to become a hammer. Too often people are looking and they are seeing the safety net, but it is being turned into a hammer. Young people, this is what I want you to write down right now. It is about equality of opportunity, or it's about equality of outcomes. Equality of opportunity or equality of outcomes. That determines where you will be in life. And sadly, what I see happening too often in the United States of America is we are ceding over our inherent liberty, our inherent freedom, to other people to make a decision about what they think the outcome should be in our lives. I think it is very disingenuous. I think it is very condescending. I think it is very offensive. If someone were to have looked at me as a kid born and raised in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, and say, there's only so far you can go. Yeah, your dad may want you to be an officer, but your dad was just a corporal and your older brother was just a lance corporal. Maybe you can end up being a sergeant. That's not your God-given American right. Your God-given American right is to pursue your own happiness, and you're the one who's supposed to determine that. How many athletes you got in here? Okay, do you show up at the beginning of the season and someone says, don't worry about it, man. We got a trophy for you at the end of the season. We'll declare you champ. See, that is someone saying they're determining an equality for your outcome. See, the amazing thing about sports, and I love it, I'm a college football, college basketball nut. Every single season, every team starts out with what? 0-0. It's all about what? It's all about how much you put into it, how much you train, how much you practice, how much effort did you put in there. So my mom taught me that the measure of a man is not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. I didn't play past high school football, but I can tell you something. I remember getting the slobber knocked out of me. And you got a choice, right, guys? You can stay down there, and everyone says, ooh, look at that. That's awesome. Or you can get back up and you go up to that guy that just hit you, and you tell him one thing, hey man, you got me this time, but I'm gonna be on you all night long. That is what America is about. America is about a competitive will, a drive and determination. But somehow along the line, our generation, and a few older folks, look down on little league soccer fields and baseball fields, and they say, oh, poor little Johnny didn't get to play. We got to take care of Johnny, because Johnny doesn't look too happy on the sidelines. And so what did we do for Johnny? We came up with this little plastic trinket called a participation trophy. And we gave it to Johnny to make him feel good, or Janie. Now see, my generation, my mom, who was a big sports nut, she would have gone down there and she would have said, you suck. That's why you don't get to play. And you can go back in the backyard and you can train a little hard. Let me, true story. Back in the day, there was no targeting. Y'all remember that? Back in the day when you played football, you can lower your head and try to cold cock somebody else. You weren't really a hard hitter. We didn't have these really high speed helmets like you guys have. Okay? So one time, I completely knocked myself out. In a football game going head to head with a guy. Woke up on the sideline. There was no ambulance that was going to come out. Woke up on the sideline, got the smelling sauce and everything. My mom had come down out of the stand. It was right behind me. I'll never forget this. She looked over, she had this nice little southern voice. She said, baby, are you okay? And I said, Mom, a little fuzzy. I'll be all right. She said, well, next time, you got to wrap them up when you go to tackle. So you had a bad tackling technique. That's why you knocked yourself out. Okay? My mom didn't come down out of the stand and say, oh, my baby, you can't play football no more. No, my mom understood that I want you to get out there on that playing field. So young people, we want you to get out there on that playing field in the free market economy, in the free enterprise system. We want you to be the next generation of great innovators. We want you to be the next generation of great inventors. We want you to be the next generation of great investors. Because that's the only way the greatest nation that the world has ever known continues on. But if you will fall prey to the people that believe in equality of outcomes, you will miss out on being a real champion in life. And I don't want to see that happen to you. Because when someone comes down and says they're going to be giving you something, you're not economically empowered. You're economically enslaved. When people don't see you as the individual that has the ability to go out there to produce, to be able to define what wealth is, define what rich is for yourself, then you're part of a collective. And you all get lumped in together. And people don't see you as that individual. Maybe some of us in here remember the old Star Trek Next Generation with Captain Jean-Luc. Maybe you remember the folks that were called the Borg. The Borg had no identity. The Borg were the collective. They were 7 of 9, 6 of 8, what have you. And what the Borg would always say when it came in contact with a human is that you will assimilate. They took away your identity. They took away your individuality. You were then part of a collective. You don't want to be part of the collective. The strength of the United States of America and this opportunity society is that the individual is sovereign. Read the Declaration of Independence. Read the Federalist Papers. Read our Constitution. It is all about the sovereignty of the individual. It is not about the subjugation of the individual to the collective will and dominance of government. That's why we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal. That they're endowed by the Creator, not man, with certain unalienable rights. Of these men, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But as Lincoln said right here, there are some people that believe liberty means that they have the right to do whatever they want with you and the product of your labor. That's not equality of opportunity. That's not the opportunity society. That's not why 4 generations in my family have taken an oath to the Constitution. So that all of a sudden we can see the exact same rhetoric, the exact same visions and objectives that took one of the most prosperous nations in this hemisphere to be a country where now people are eating their pets. People are going and killing zoo animals for food. People are going to the sewage system to get drinking water. People are dying in hospitals because they don't have medical supplies. People that used to be able to defend themselves had their right to private gun ownership stripped away from them. So now military vehicles can run them down in the streets. When they're going to the government that has done this to them, saying this is wrong. You don't need to go back and study the Soviet Union. It's happening right now. I shared in Dale's class earlier today the moment that changed my life, that helped me to understand what it meant to be a United States Army soldier. And that was in January of 1985. When we went to Berlin for a training mission, West Berlin. But you got one day in that 3-week training rotation to put on your Class A uniform, your spit shine jump boots, your paratrooper beret, and you went through this narrow little divide called Checkpoint Charlie. Maybe a lot of young people, you don't know what Checkpoint Charlie is. But Checkpoint Charlie was a place where you went from liberty, and you went through and you saw tyranny. You saw buildings that still had potholes, World War II. You had streets, incredible potholes. You had just 2 kinds of cars, 2-door, 4-door, 3 other colors. You saw the despondency, despair, and depression on the faces of the people that were there because they were not free. But yet they were told by the government there that we're going to give you everything that you need. Just surrender your rights. And we will determine your outcomes. And all of us were absolutely shocked to walk and see those things happen. To walk into a store and not see anything on the shelves. So when we got back through Checkpoint Charlie back over to West Berlin, we knew why we were soldiers. We knew when Ronald Reagan talked about an evil empire. Because anyone that wants to strip you away of your individual liberty, freedom, sovereignty, that's pure evil. Because their intent is not noble. It is not honorable. But if you're not careful, just the same as with the people in Venezuela, it can happen in these United States of America. You guys don't know how blessed you are to be on a campus like Northwood University. That is teaching, training, and preparing you to go out there and be those next great captains of industry. That's what America is all about. And that's why people like me and men and women today are standing on freedom's ramparts so that you can be here and have this incredible opportunity to get an exceptional education, to go out and make a difference for this nation. How many people here saw the movie Saving Private Ryan? There's a great scene at the end of Saving Private Ryan. Y'all know the story. Tom Hanks' character has been shot. He's there and he's bleeding out. And he reaches over as Matt Damon's character, Private Ryan, comes over to him. Tom Hanks' character says 2 words to him. Earn this. What did he mean by earn this? He meant earn this sacrifice that his small little squad had made to find him and keep him alive. And if you recall at the end of the movie, it fast forwards to the grown-up Private Ryan standing there before Captain Miller's grave site there in Northwood. And he turned to his wife. He said, "Tell me I was a good man. Tell me I lived a good life." When y'all think about all of these young men and women that are out there in hellish conditions so that you can be here today, earn this. Earn this opportunity that you had. You may never know them. They may never know you. But they wake up every single day committed to you having the opportunity to live in the greatest nation that the world has ever known. I was asked earlier today, what was one of the greatest moments in my military career? It was being in Afghanistan and watching little girls go to school. Because I knew that they did not have that opportunity until we showed up. And just to see their smiling faces, laughing and cheering and talking as they were going off to get an education, then I understood. And I just prayed that they will continue to earn that sacrifice that has been made for them. Life is not about what you achieve. It's always about what you enable others to succeed. Being rich, I'm a rich guy. I have been a combat battalion commander. I've been a member of the United States House of Representatives. I've written 2 books, doing a 3rd right now, and I'm standing before you all here. I'm rich because I'm carrying on the legacy of my mother and father. I'm rich because I have stood on freedom's ramparts and done all that I could to make sure that you stay free and you have the equality of opportunity so that no man or woman can determine your outcomes. Wealth is about whatever you decide it is. Don't let anyone else determine or define to you what wealth is. That being said, what are your questions?
I would like you to raise your hand if you have a question for Colonel West, and I'll bring the microphone around so everybody can hear your question.
They're ready to go see the NBA playoffs. Go ahead, stand up and shout it out. You're a young man. Let me hear your Army voice.
Okay, so 2 questions if you don't mind.
Man, I'm from Georgia. I can only have one.
Okay. In regards to personal ownership and not taking advantage of, the freedoms and luxuries that we have, it's very easy for us in our, developed society to, I guess, like I said, take advantage of the stuff we have. How do you, I guess, look forward to more and try to accomplish and take ownership, if not coming from a military background like your family's were?
Look, what I have told my daughters, what I tell all young people, is you sit down, you got to have a 5-year plan. 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be? And then when you come up with that 5-year plan, you have to have your intermediate objectives for each and every year to get to that point. Now, as I shared earlier, You can always write your plans in pencil because God has an eraser, but at least you have to have a base plan that you can adjust from. And that's the key thing in life. So often people don't plan to fail, but they fail to plan. And then all of a sudden there's an obstacle, whether it comes in their way, and they're just caught with their shorts down around their knees. But the other thing is that you must understand that throughout life, good, bad, or indifferent, it's a lesson that you can always recover from, that you can learn from. I think it was Friedrich Nietzsche that said, that which does not kill us only serves to make us stronger. That's how you have to see life. In the Bible, in Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5, it talks about trials and tribulations. Now, trials and tribulations produces perseverance. And perseverance produces character. And character produces hope. Not hope in man, but hope in something that is greater. The person that gave you your inalienable rights. Too often, what we are doing, we're not forcing young people to take risks. We're not forcing young people to go out there and do something that's difficult. Too often, parents and grandparents, we're trying to protect them. We're making them risk averse. And so the next thing you know, when something does come along that's a little bit tough, a little bit difficult, look at all of these suicides that we're facing in the United States of America. I mean, my girlfriend broke up with me. I'm going to kill myself. Are you stupid or what? There's a whole bunch of women out there, man. Okay? You can't believe that that's the end of your life. So what I want to tell you is develop that 5-year plan. And have your intermediate objectives along the way. You got to see yourself in the future, not just now. Too often we as Americans live in short term. You understand why China thinks that they're going to get us to blink? Because the Chinese have a strategy that's talking 50 years from now, the One Belt, One Road strategy. We operate like we're in a fast food restaurant at McDonald's. I mean, it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? 2 years is too much for us. Our Dow Jones Industrial Average, it says it's the futures market, and that's just the next 24 hours. How silly is that? We think the future is 24 hours. See, they don't believe that we have that resolve. And so I will tell you once again, you gotta have resolve. You gotta be willing to go out there and fight through the tough times. What is a diamond? When you first pick it. It's a lump of coal. You know what makes a lump of coal into a diamond? Pressure and heat. How do you purify steel? Intense heat. So what I would tell all you young folks here, just the same as my mom taught me, the measure of a man is not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. Go out and seek out the challenges. Go out and find the tough job. Go out and find the things that are going to make you strong. Thomas Jefferson once said, in matters of style, swim with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. There's a lot of things out there that sounds popular, sounds cool, whatever. But sometimes you gotta be pure heat. You know what pure heat means? It's a Cherokee word. North Georgia. How many folks remember that miniseries Band of Brothers? That unit from the 101st Airborne Division adopted that word, pure heat, as their motto. You know what pure heat means? Stands alone. Why was that so important? That unit was the 101st Airborne Division, who in December of 1944, in the middle of winter, like a daggone snowstorm I had here, in the middle of winter, was surrounded by the Germans at a place called Bastogne. When the Germans asked them to surrender, you know what they said? Commanding General, one word response. Nuts. Germans didn't know what they were talking about. So that's what purity means. It means stands alone. That's what it means to go through the crucible. So that you can look as a piece of coal, but you are going to end up being a diamond. 5 years from now, I'll look forward to great things from it. All right, second question.
Second question, a little simpler. What's the hardest part about leadership that you've had to, overcome?
Oh, the hardest part about leadership, and I'm sure Dr. Preddy will agree with me, you got to make some tough decisions sometimes. And tough decisions are not always popular decisions. That's what you have to do. And leadership is defined by what I call 5 C's. It's courage, it's competence, it's commitment, It's conviction, and it's character. Young folks, let me tell you something. When you wake up every day, there are three things that you own. That's your honor, that's your integrity, and that's your character. The purpose of every single day is that you end that day still with those three things. The only Michael Jackson song I have ever liked is that song, Man in the Mirror. Because he's right. At the end of the day, you've got to look at yourself in the mirror and recognize who you are and know that you did not lose yourself from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. And that's what leadership is about. The United States of America needs principled, resolved leadership. The United States of America needs statesmen. What's the difference between a statesman, a leader, and a politician? A statesman is never going to tell you what he thinks you want to hear. A politician is going to tell you what you want to hear. Because for a politician, they're only concerned about one thing, getting you a vote. A leader and a statesman is going to tell you what you need to hear. And I know the level of this man right here, he has made some of those tough decisions. When I first was introduced to Northwood University because of a campus you had down in West Palm Beach, he had to make a tough decision. And I stood with him on that decision. That university was in the congressional district that I represented, but I understood exactly his vision. The important part about leadership is communicating your vision. And then, like I said, you got to stand like a dog. Thank you. You're welcome. Come on, man. You got to stay there till 8:30.
I just wanted to say thank you for your service and thank you for coming here to speak.
Okay.
And also, what do you think the biggest threat / wolf in sheep's clothing is there to our nation in terms of like limiting our excellence and ability to proceed? But
Great question.
Especially for like our generation.
Great question. 2 weeks ago, I did a Facebook Live, and I was asked that exact same question on Facebook Live. And I will tell you, the greatest threat to us in the United States of America is us. Because we don't know who us is. We don't study our founding documents. We don't study our history. So any flim-flam person can come along and drip honey in your ears, and you go falling for it. It all boils down, this ain't Republican or Democrat, folks. It's what do you see as the intricate relationship between the individual and the institution of government? If you study our founding documents, if you study our history, you understand what that relationship is supposed to be. The individual is here, the institution of government is there. Quality of opportunity is supposed to be here. Outcomes supposed to be down there. They've been switched. So that's what we need to do. We need to have more places of education, not indoctrination like what you have here, where you can have sincere exchange of ideas and principles. Let me tell you something. Do you think the University of Michigan would ever ask me to come speak there? No, seriously. Ain't happening. That dog don't hunt, like we say down south. And why should that be? Why should it be that a person should not be able to come and talk about different principles of values? Have an open debate, not to be shut down. Because I gotta believe that if you don't want to have a debate about something, then you're scared. You don't really believe in what you believe in. So that's the problem in America. In 244 short years, we have completely gone against everything that the founding fathers established us to do. Your generation, it's time for y'all to step up to that plate. It's real easy, like I said, swim with the current. That's style. In principle, you stand like a rock. But you can only do that. What's the second C in leadership? Competence. You gotta study, you gotta understand these things. So that when someone comes before you with stuff that you know is folly, you can intelligently engage them. If they start to yell and scream, don't back down. Hey, look, Uncle Tom, sell out, white man's porch monkey, Oreo. Those are things that some people say, about me on Facebook. Well, first of all, if you've ever been in combat and got shot at, I really don't give a damn about what someone tried to call me a name on Facebook, okay? But there are some people that will, he hurt my face off. I just can't do it anymore. See, to me, it's a sign of ignorance when people can't engage in an intellectual debate. So when folks try to call you names or whatever, step up. You win in the debate. They start screaming and yelling at you, step up some more. If they try to take a swing at you like they did that kid out there in California, Berkeley, duck, come back around with that counterpunch, okay? Somebody needs to get that kid in a boxing class, all right? But that's the problem. It's just understanding who we are. But again, you all are in an incredible institution where you're learning truthfully what America is all about. Our free market, free enterprise system is what has made us the greatest economy the world's ever known. And like I said, earn this opportunity you have.
Thank you.
Well, let him use his army voice.
We're recording, so.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Are there any challenges that your military service prepared you for when entering Congress? Any kind of scenarios you can, or was it a total mad dash?
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's very interesting because at least on a battlefield, you know who's shooting at you, and you can shoot back. Okay. What the military prepared me for us to understand is that you don't leave until the problem is solved. And what frustrated me being in Congress is that people just want to continue to perpetuate the same problems. They don't ever want to fix it. It's like that's a justifying means for them to remain in an elected position in power. And I don't like that. And the other thing is, I took that oath to the Constitution, 31 July 1982. It means something to me because I've been places where people were willing to lay down their lives for it. It's not just a bunch of words. It's something that codifies my meaning and my being. And I just think that there are too many people in Washington, D.C. This is bipartisan. They're all about themselves. They're all about special interests and self-interest. I'll tell you right now, I don't know if y'all have Googled recently and seen some of the stuff that's going on. I'm a board member of the National Rifle Association. There are a lot of stories out there about the National Rifle Association. And I came out and I just said I had enough. I don't like when people that are entrusted with a position of leadership, they betray the trust of those folks that received that over to them. And that's what you have to do. And I'm not going to sit around and wait for any of the 75 other board members to say anything. Because it's pure evil. Standing alone. It's the fact that I have to look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day. So, why did I only serve one term in the United States Congress? Because my yes was a yes and my no was a no. I could not be bought, I could not be sold. I mean, I had people come in and promise that they were going to bring all of these things into the district and do this and whatever. I said, because the minute I say okay, then they got it. In Washington, D.C., you can wake up as a member of Congress, House or the Senate. You don't have to ever feed yourself. Someone's always ready to take you to breakfast, take you to lunch, take you to dinner. But it comes with a price. See, I told folks, I used to eat MREs. I don't need to go down to Capitol Grill and have a steak. I can go right over here to Popeye's Chicken, or I go to Subway. I'll be just as damn happy, okay? And they can understand that. Because that didn't define me, being owned by someone else. And so, as Plato would say, one of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you shall be governed by your inferiors. The people in Washington, D.C., or in the State House here, or the governor's mansion, they're there because of who? Answer. They're there because of who?
Us.
Yeah, you. Okay. And Dale brought up a great point in his class today. It was the story of Mrs. Powell and the confrontation she had with Benjamin Franklin and George Washington when they came out of Constitutional Hall back on September 17, 1787. Mrs. Powell, a very well-known Philadelphia socialite, went up to him and said, well, doctor, what is it that we have, a republic or a democracy, a republic or a monarchy? He said, a republic if you can keep it. And Washington chimed in and said, and to keep it, you must understand its laws. That's why I learned the pickle that we're in right now. This is a republic. It's not a democracy. It is a representative democracy based upon the fact that you can vote for people, but it's not a pure democracy. A pure democracy will lend itself to the tyranny of a majority. If you don't study those basic things, then someone will come along and, like I say, pour the honey in your ears. So, having been in combat, being in Washington, D.C., that was easy. It really was. But I need you all to step up and send warriors to fight for this country. People who are willing to stand on freedom's ramparts, people who are willing to make the tough decisions, not the popular decisions.
Alan, where do you think President Trump is doing his best work in? Can you comment on what you think he can do to improve his presidency?
Oh, sure, that's fun. I'll be happy to tell you that. And full disclosure, I know him personally because Mar-a-Lago and two of his golf properties are in the congressional district I represent now, South Florida. To look at President Trump, you have to bifurcate the president. His policies and personality. And I can tell you there are a lot of things about his personality I don't agree with. I don't think you need to try to do policy on Twitter, on social media. I just don't. Okay, you can't all of a sudden decide that we're going to pull all the troops out of Syria and you never told your Secretary of Defense. Okay? But when I look at our economy and where it's going, when I look at the fact that we're standing up to someone like a China, never been done before, I have to give him an A. I really do. I mean, look at our unemployment situation. Look at the fact that we have more job opportunities out there than we have people to fill the jobs. So I would tell the president this. Stop being the obnoxious guy that we all knew in high school, that we didn't like. And just be a leader. Okay? But, I don't know how many people here from New York. That's just how them Yankees are, man. They just loud, boisterous, obnoxious, or whatever. So, I mean, we got what we got. But, as I said, when you look at, you don't hear about ISIS anymore. We don't hear about Islamic terrorism anymore. The allies in NATO, they're starting to step up to the plate. I mean, we got the Iranians kind of concerned now because we're not going to take their mess. We're not going to be giving them $150 billion. They're the number one state sponsor of Islamic terrorism in the world. Why would we give them $150 billion? So, because he is not from within that beltway place, he is doing some good things. But again, the means by which you communicate it, the means by which you show that personality, is not a servant leader personality. That's what the military teaches you. And I think what was one of the things that I learned? Cool heads always prevail. In a firefight, no one's looking for someone that's going to be falling apart, manning and screaming and everything like that. They're looking for a steady hand. Thomas Stonewall Jackson. Y'all heard of that guy? You know how he got his nickname Stonewall? First Battle of Manassas was Bull Run, depending on which side you were on. But when the Confederates were running from the field, because the Union was pressing them, Jackson was sitting there on his horse, bullets flying all over the place. He ended up getting shot in his hand. And the commander of the Georgia regiment said, "Men, rally, turn, fight. There is Jackson like a stone wall." He didn't have to say a word. He exuded leadership by just sitting there on his horse in the middle of bullets and all the craziness that's going on. That's what people look at for a leader. The person's going to keep that ship steady. That you can't shake them, you can't frustrate them. So that's what I would do. Maybe he'll see this video. Yes, sir.
Now, you said before you're from the inner city, and when you're giving a speech to a group like us, we're intellectual individuals, educated individuals. Now, when you give that speech to us, what's the best way for us to carry on what you're saying to those people who aren't as blessed to be at a school like this and aren't as educated as us?
It's very simple. Sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about showing that you care. And there are a lot of folks out there, they ain't got a whole lot of book learning, but they got some common sense learning. My dad never graduated college. Well, let me tell you something, that was a very wise man. And I think that it is so important that you all that are here in these settings, you got to go down and speak to people in just common everyday language. Nobody in the United States of America wakes up to be dependent upon anybody else. But if that's the only message that they hear, that's what they'll fall for. And that's why it's so important to go back into these communities, to these neighborhoods. That's why it's so important to go to Flint, go to Lansing, go to Troy. And bring some of these kids out here to live. Bring some of these kids out here to Northwood. You know, when I was there in Washington, D.C., I lived right off the Capitol Hill District when I was in college. Think about how great it would be to take some of these kids out of that environment where all they hear, gunshots, police sirens, or whatever, and take them on a hike on the Appalachian Trail. Because you're showing them that that's not the normal. That you can get out there and you can enjoy the peace and serenity, and you talk to them about leadership. You talk to them about, and challenge them out there. Okay, you're the leader today. Here's some pots, here's some pans, here's some food, there's your campsite. See you in the morning. Challenge young people, the next generation. Give back to them. But too often we don't, we got this nice little jewel out here. Go to some of these underprivileged kids and show them you don't have to be the rap star. You don't have to be the drug dealer. That if you work hard, you can come and you can build a place here like Northwood. Man, y'all got some awesome facilities. Y'all got better turf on that stadium than we have at Neyland Stadium at the University of Tennessee. Let me tell you, I've been on the field at the University of Tennessee. That's better turf than we got. So bring them here, show them what you got. Be proud of it. That's what I want you to do. It's not engagement. I know that the theme here was inclusiveness. Sometimes we think inclusiveness means that we have to lower a standard. In the Army, no one wants to be in a suck unit. They don't. Suck units get people killed. Soldiers want to be in the best unit. Soldiers want to be in the unit where everybody is strapped. Great haircuts, nice looking uniform. When they go out to train, they're 100% all the time. You need to go and show people what it means to be a winner. Some of these kids don't know what it means to be a winner. So that's my challenge. Yes, sir.
First off, I want to thank you for being here.
Well, I kind of had to. I want to thank y'all for coming out. Y'all did not have to.
All right, so little background. 4 years ago, I was given the opportunity to come here and play football, and it's been an amazing experience. But as the years go by,
What position?
safety.
All right.
But as the years
Where
go
you're
by,
strong.
it's strong, essentially. Hybrid, linebacker type of
Yeah.
but as the years go by, I see the youth getting more entitled, more entitled to playing time, receiving more scholarship money, and that can have a direct correlation into society as well, where the youth feels like, they feel entitled to everything.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to get your take on where you think that stems from. More importantly,
I just
what we
told
can
you.
do.
It stemmed from adults who
Right.
thought that they could take care of kids selflessly.
Right.
And they gave them participation.
I agree. And how do you think we can shift that group into not feeling that way or being that way?
There's 3 different levels. Grandparents, you got to step up. Parents, you got to step up. And peers, you got to step up. Being entitled to anything. When I was a young lieutenant in the United States Army, I did not want to see anybody above the rank of captain. A major, a lieutenant, a general? Are you crazy? I would run out in front of a moving bus to keep from being anywhere near a general. But then also, when I'm a battalion commander in 2002, I got brand new spanking lieutenants coming up to me and telling me how I can run my battalion. Really? And when did you get your commission? Oh, 6 months ago. Okay, thank you very much. Smack. Okay, but that's the mentality. I mean, we have some schools that say you cannot grade papers in red. Y'all heard it, right? You cannot grade papers in red because it hurts kids' feelings. What grade do you want to have? We'll just give you that grade. Are you kidding me? We're setting you up for failure if we continue to do that, folks. Remember what I said? We must show people that you got to go through trials and tribulations. You must go through things and develop your own toughness, your own rigor. Because when you go out there as a future business leader and you got these tough situations, how are you going to make payroll? You can't just collapse and sit down in your corner and start crying like a baby. Figure your way out through it. So I will tell you this, when you get those new freshmen that come in here to be on the Northwood football team, don't slack on them. Tell them to earn this. Earn this uniform. Earn the right to take the field for this institution. Show them the rights of passage. I don't mean harass them or anything like that. Okay? But show them that you got to earn your way to get here. You can't just show up here and think, I was an all-star quarterback in high school. So what? Get out here and show us what you got now. And then run that blitz package on them.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right.
So Silicon Valley is obviously a very, or kind of a liberal area. And some of the companies out there, the products that they've created, everyone in this room probably interact with every day, specifically the social media players like Facebook, Twitter. Do you think that those companies tend to suppress the views of, or limit the free speech of conservatives?
Short
If
answer,
so,
yes. Long answer, yes. I mean, absolutely. And think about it. I mean, again, what I was saying, we should have open debate. We should not be censoring or shutting down anyone's opposing viewpoint, as long as it's not, spewing hate or things of this nature. But if you're sitting down and doing a careful exegesis, an intellectual analysis of policies, issues, and things of this nature, why don't we want that out there in the public sphere? History tells us why they don't want it in the public sphere. Because it's about ideological domination. And so if you are masquerading yourself as a public platform for the exchange of ideas, then you can't come back and say, well, that idea we like, that idea we don't like. And we see that each and every day. Maybe the next generation of social media gurus sitting here in this room will come out of Northwood University to develop the next platform that truly allows for open exchange of ideas. It's a very challenge. Maybe that's something you can look at doing in one of your classes. I'll sign up for it. I'll jump on it. But those First Amendment freedoms, and I've talked about this earlier in Dave's class, those First Amendment freedoms had to be backed up by Second Amendment. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of press, the right to assemble, the right to petition your government for redress of grievances means nothing if you cannot be able to support and defend and save and secure yourself against someone who comes to take them away. Hitler, Pol Pot, Stalin, Chairman Mao, Castro's, the Ortegas, Hugo Chavez. One of the first things they did was they took away private ownership of firearms. What our founding fathers understood is that if you are armed, you can be a citizen. If you are unarmed, you will be a subject. You will get run over by a military tank when you're protesting your government for starving you to death. So, yes. Uh-oh.
Thank you, Colonel West, for being such a friend and supporter of Northwood University and helping us develop the future leaders of a global free
Our
enterprise
pleasure.
society. We'd like to hear more about your current book project, and if you could give us a preview, a little preview, and the impact you'd like to see it have.
You know, earlier today I got asked who is my hero, not a family member. And I shared the story of Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain at Little Round Top. But my philosophical hero is a person by the name of Booker T. Washington. I mean, he is truly the father of Black conservatism. When you think about Tuskegee Institute, and you think about Northwood University, they're hand in hand. Booker T. Washington believed in education, entrepreneurship, and self-reliance. That's what you talk about here in Northwood University. So the next book that I'm writing is an understanding of conservatism in the Black community. Because I think that we have truly lost that. Not about political parties, but it's about principles and values. It's about faith, it's about family, individual responsibility, quality education, service to the nation. So those are the points that I'll try to bring out historically from Booker T. Washington all the way up to today, and talk about some of the challenges we have in this country. So, that answer?
Okay. You said in my class earlier today that you were against the draft.
Yeah.
But I've heard people talk about the draft as being the cure for some of the entitlement, selfish, self-absorbed, kind of young, kind of immaturity that, the people having trouble transitioning to adulthood.
Yeah.
Can you explain why you're against the draft?
Absolutely. That's easy. As a commander, I do not need to spend 95% of my time with 5% of a problem. It's a privilege to serve in the United States military. It's not a right. It's a privilege to stand up and wear the uniform of this great nation and to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Now, do I believe that young people need to have some type of national service system? Absolutely. You need to understand that there's something out there greater than your iPad, iPhone, or whatever, your boyfriend, girlfriend, what have you. But not a military. Because what we ask our military to do is above and beyond the call of duty. And we don't need to be forcing people to do what we're asking our young men and women to do. There are always going to be young men and women who stand up, just the same as my dad challenged me to do, and defend this great nation. We need to make sure we continue to have the best, the most courageous, the most honorable to do that. Not giving our military somebody else's problem. So no, I don't believe in draft. We have the best military around. The problem is we don't have good, resolute, strategic leadership. If you send me to go fight the bad guy, let me fight the bad guy. Let me kick him in the ass, okay? That's all I'm asking. Don't send me over there and tell me I gotta build roads, build churches, and all this kind of stuff. I was an artillery guy. I don't know anything about building dadgum schools, building a church. What I do know is this. I see bad guy, I kill bad guy. All right? And guess what? There are people that understand that. Because there are some people in the world that only understand a basic thing. Strength and might. You want to negotiate with them? That's weakness. You want to compromise with them? That's weakness. You want to acquiesce to them? That's weakness. How many people remember when 2 riverine assault craft were surrendered over to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy? Little Boston whalers. Have you ever seen a riverine assault craft? If you have, Google it. A riverine assault boat is like a tank on the water. If you think some little bitty Boston whale is going to come up to me in a river, I'm going to blow them out of the water. But what do? We surrender. That's not in the traditions of the history of the United States Navy. We surrender, and next thing you know, there are pictures of our sailors on their knees, hands over their head, with Iranians pointing guns at them. That dog don't hunt. Okay? When I was in Afghanistan, and a tribal leader tells you, that guy right there is Taliban. And then all of a sudden I go, you're not really Taliban. All right? But then I go up to him, and then I pull him off to the side. Hey man, are you Taliban? Oh, no, Colonel. I'm not Taliban. Someone, it's all wrong. No, I love America. I love you. We are so happy with you. But you know what happens when the sun goes down? That dude knows somebody ratted him out. And that dude's going to find out who ratted him out, and that person's going to end up with their head in their lap. I'm going to be very blunt. That's what happens. When the tribal elder tells you that guy's Taliban, you just you do one thing. Go get him and exterminate him. When we send our men and women into the combat zones, don't give them rules of engagement that say you have to wait till the enemy shoots at you before you can shoot back. In firefights, in 2 or 3 seconds, someone's going to lose their life. If you tell the enemy they got to drop on our guys are going to lose their lives. Why do you not hear about the Taliban or not Taliban, ISIS anymore? Because all of a sudden, someone said, you guys take care of the business. Now, ISIS is still out there because it's an ideology, but they don't have a territorial integrity. So, no, we don't need a draft. We need to make sure that our military has the right rules of engagement, has the right policies, has the right orders and guidance to go out there and kill the enemy. I hate to tell you, Because that's what war is all about. Carl von Clausewitz, the great Prussian military strategist, said, war is about the imposition of your will on another. Nathan Bedford Forrest, Confederate cavalry leader. War is about fighting, fighting is about killing. That's it. So that's what we need. All right, it's overtime, 5 minutes. I love this institution. I love this institution because of what it stands for. I love this institution because it's created the next generation of captains of industry. And that's why today, I gave money to Justin to put a bench out there in your founder square. I'm not going to tell you what that quote is going to say on that bench. But when it goes up, I hope and pray that you go and stop and read the quote that I wrote on that bench. Because if you read that quote, you will earn this. So God bless you all. Thank you.